Hello everybody, Snowman Killer today. I'm recording off my phone. Actually I need to try something real fast. Hopefully I can do this without breaking things. Can I pin it against my... oh god, I'm breaking things. Okay. This is not going well at all. I've already broke things. My thumb is the main majority of this video. Oh. Stay. We good? We good. Anyway, hello everybody, Snowman Killer here today. I have a few stories for you guys. Now, it's currently 2:18 in the morning, and I'm deliriously tired. But I need to say that I'm sorry that I haven't been recording lately. I've been missing it so much. But with work, I've been trying to find a schedule where I can, sit down and record. Now, I'm on a steady night shift now, so I can either record before work or after work. And I'm going to start doing that from now on. The past few videos I've tried to record has failed. It was terrible, like god-awfully terrible. Snapchat, sorry. But anyway, I've been 11 to 3 for like a month. No, 2 weeks. Wow, my days are getting backwards. But it's been brutal, and I'm sick, so, Anyway, thank you guys so much for sticking with me and waiting patiently. I feel like such an asshole for leaving you guys so long without recording. I haven't had time to sit around and think of a video to do or a game to play. The past few games that I've played have gone terrible. Freaking moth. They've gone so bad. I've tried to record Amnesia, and that just got mashed down to like 15 seconds of mixed clips from the video. It wasn't good. And then I tried to record Call of Cthulhu: Darkest Corners of the World. Interesting game, but it just didn't want to record. My recording software said, fuck you, and it said no. And then I tried to record Clone Hero. I recorded that for about 45 minutes, and it was going to be like a big comeback, showing off skill. But it failed. It's stuck at like 92% on YouTube, and I'll upload it, try to, sometime, but, dying. Anyway, I've been seeing a lot of videos on YouTube about, like, horror movies, and how they got into horror movies and what scared them as a kid, so I'm here to tell my story. I was about 8 years old in Florida at the time. I didn't live there, but we were down there visiting family, and that was an interesting time. It was Florida, because Arizona was where my Pappy Joe was. That's a story for another time. I may tell it tonight. Actually, I will tell it tonight, because I have a few stories. But anyway, little 8-year-old me in Florida, I was sitting in a trailer, and I wanted, to find a movie to watch, because I was little and bored, and outside was a novel concept to kids at the time. So I picked up the movie Psycho. Oh god, why is my recording going all weird? Anyway, I found the movie Psycho. It was in an old box, like in the corner of the room somewhere. So I picked it up and I was like, hey, I'll watch it. Why not? So I put it in. I watched that movie at least 15 times. I was addicted to the movie Psycho. It's such a good movie. I can't really remember much of it now, but at the time, oh god, I watched it every day. And it's not that my mom was a bad parent for letting me watch a horror movie. She didn't know I was watching the movie. And I mean, it didn't scar me. It didn't give me nightmares. I loved the movie. I watched it religiously down there. I mean, I watched The Dark Crystal. Very weird, very messed up movie. But I watched The Dark Crystal. I watched Legend. Really good movie. Unicorns and Satan. Oh, great movie. And then I had The Last Unicorn. The Last Unicorn sounds like a girly movie, but man, is it good. I will swear by that movie. To this day. I love it. But, yeah, Psycho was one of the movies that I loved. It was my first horror movie ever. And then, jump cut to many years later, I had this friend named Paige, and she was amazing. She was like my best friend. Then she moved away, and I was sad. But we watched Dawn of the Dead together. That movie messed me up as a kid. Like, to her, she was a trooper. She loved that movie. But to me, it was a new concept of zombies. I should have started out with, like, The Night of the Living Dead, the 80s movie. I love that movie. Cheesy movie, I love them. All cheesy horror movies, and B movies, and Attack of the Killer Tomatoes movies. If you haven't seen Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, please watch it. It is a movie. That's really all I can explain about it. But yeah, Dawn of the Dead messed me up because where I live now is where I lived as a kid. Well, next door, but anyway. In between the houses, there's a like 14, 15 foot gap between the houses where it just shoots up into the woods. As I'd walk across the path across the yard at midnight, I'd see nothing but the moon, the stars, and the dark, terrifying, treacherous woods. Now, when you're a kid, do you remember looking at something and being like, that is the most terrifying thing? And then you get older, you're like, why was I scared of that again? Like clowns. People still are afraid of clowns to this day. But to me, the woods were one of the scarier things. And I live in the woods now. Like, God, I'll go out there and spend hours and hours. I love the woods, especially the ones behind my house now. Oh, beautiful. But anyway, as I was a kid, I'd be terrified that zombies would come down from the woods and, like, try to eat me. Or, like, someone be up there with a bow and arrow just waiting for me. And just me. Like, everyone else, they're safe, you know, they'll do their own thing and be fine. But me, people hated me, and I don't know why I thought that. Like, I thought people were out to get me, they'd try to murder me, and stupid kid thoughts. But I would always go into a dead-ass sprint between the houses, like, I leave, you know, bye, haha, walk, peeks around corner, you know, like, trying to figure out if there's anyone standing there around the corner, and then, like, a shot was like, zoom, and then I stop, turn around, hopefully no one saw that, and then I go inside, lock the door, close the blinds, shake for about 15 minutes, and then go my merry way. But then we had to watch the director's cut, where it showed, like, how they did it, and the scene with that zombie who, like, crawled across the floor and, like, on the ceiling actually had no legs, which tripped me out still thinking about it. Well, not really, but as a kid, I was like, he has no legs, he's basically a zombie. Stupid kid, stupid brain, stupid thoughts. But after watching that, I became less scared, and then the realization that movies are just fake and make-believe popped into my head. So, I can still get immersed in the story, don't get me wrong. But, always in the back of the head stops me like, yeah, it's not real, blah blah blah. But, then I discovered found footage. Found footage movies are my absolute favorite movies. Like, you know, the cheesy ones where they go around the camera and, like, Blair Witch Project. The Blair Witch Project is a prime example of that. It's one of the most well-known ones, it's the most well-done one. But everyone hates it for some reason, because it's a shaky film movie. Ew. But I'm so enthused with the thought of a found footage. Like, people wander through the woods, hey, a camera, let's see what's on it. And then they see this creepy shit and their friend's dying, and they're like, oh my god, people have to see this. That's my mentality of it anyway. I'll find a camera, find someone, like, dying, and I'm like, people have got to see this. This has got to be a thing. I'm making this to a movie. Mine. People's misfortune is my fortune. Don't quote me on that. Don't cut that into bits. But anyway, I started watching a lot of found footage movies, like, Blair Witch Project, Troll Hunter, great movie, The Devil's Pass, VHS 1 and 2, both amazing movies. VHS is about, well, as I said, people breaking into this house of this man who's a crazed psycho, who finds footage. I can't talk. Who finds like films and stuff of, people, and they end up being like vampires and a man with prosthetic eye who can see ghosts and shit, and a guy with a GoPro who is riding through a trail, and he stops to help this person, but that person was bit by a zombie, and then he gets bit, and then you see him change. Well, you don't actually physically see him change. You see the GoPro of a ground, but he's sitting there puking up blood, and he comes to, and he attacks this person. He like changes two other people, so now there's 3 zombies wandering around. Then they go to this party, like this little kid's birthday party. They eat the father, and then it's really sad because he sees himself in the reflection of like what he's become as like a zombie, and he grabs a shotgun, and he literally blows his brains out, like he blows his head off, and you see his body as his head just tumbles in the air with a GoPro on, and splat just against the ground. I mean, he gets hit by a car, he gets like shot, stabbed with a pitchfork. It's great. It's an amazing movie. But those are always things that I love. Why am I like not in center? Maybe I am like. Okay, I'm in center. I have the flash on, so it's brighter. But when I was about 16, I wanted to make one of those movies. I wanted to be in a found footage film. I wanted to be the victim, you know, the one that gets murdered in the end. Don't mind me dying. But I wrote down a script. I wrote down like scenes, like scenery, what's gonna be happening, when it's gonna happen, time points, timestamps, like things. And I had my friends ready. We were going over the script. We were in the woods. We were playing. I had like, I don't think I still have I don't have the footage actually, which is sad. But I rigged this bug killer spray thing like up to my chest. I had a pack like around my back, so whenever like I'd pull on it, it would release the pressure and blood would go and like spray everywhere. But how I would die in that movie would be like the premise was I'd get this new camera, you know, my camcorder is charging, and I'd be playing with it, you know, recording myself around the room, zooming in and out of things like a bug on the floor, or a stain on the ceiling, whatever. When did I get there? Huh. Anyway, and I'd hear screaming outside from a woman. I'd get up, I'd go outside, leave the camera there, you know, blah blah. And then I'd run back in a hurry, grab it, go outside, and chase them off into the woods. Don't know why, like, this is all sounding really stupid in my head, but at the time, I was a genius. I was like the Mark Wahlberg of hidden or found footage. Or the, oh no, I can't remember the, it's also 2:30 in the morning, so my brain's kind of pudding. But Quentin Tarantino. I am the Quentin Tarantino of found footage films. And this sounded like the greatest idea in my head. But I could never get it to come out like I saw it in my head, you know? Like when you have a drawing idea and you're like scribbling it down. Like, let's say I want to draw a tree, right? Or actually, nah, I don't want to waste paper. But let's say I want to draw a tree. And this tree's going to be beautiful. It's going to have like detailed bark. It's going to have like beautiful foliage and an apple with light shining down on it, like, bing! And then you draw it and you're like, a twig here with, like, some scribbles and a spiral. I used to draw trees in kindergarten. And, like, a circle painted red badly with, like, with apple pointing to it. And then a smiling sun. But I couldn't get that image that I wanted to come out in this film. And I tried and tried and tried and tried. But I failed. You know, sad. But from found footage came, this is going to sound stupid, really sadistic. Now, I never got into snuff films. Snuff films always creeped me out because they were real, like, 1,000 Faces is a legit snuff film, and, ugh. But body mutilation and, like, grotesque horror movies, like, My Bloody Valentine, anything by Sick Disgusting Productions, they're, like, amazing. You know, just a lot of blood and gore and brains and intestines and viscera of different things. I know I sound sadistic right now and I sound crazy and you're gonna lock up your children and hide your pets when I'm around, but don't. I'm a normal guy. I'm happy, you know, la la la. Little deranged, but, you know, who isn't in 2018? But, God, I can't believe I just came out and said that. I always loved horror movies. They've always been a part of my life, you know. I just love movies in general. I like to sit down, watch a movie here and then, you know, get immersed into a story. But I never really cried until I hit like 16, 17. Because I became a baby, a soft, squishy baby. And Bridge to Terabithia and the Iron Giant are two that get me every time, and I hate it. I hate that the Bridge to Terabithia makes me cry. Like, not bawling like a baby, but just, single tear. Just blah blah. Same with Iron Giant. Such a good movie. Such a kid movie. But it gets me every time, and I hate myself for it. It's like with that song Alyssa lied. I bawl my eyes out. Literally, tears streaming down my face, crying because of that song. I hate it. I hate everything that it stands for. I hate everything it is. It's just blah. I hate it. But yeah, back on the track of horror movies. Horror video games are a different thing. There's only one game that's ever scared me to the point where I didn't want to play anymore, and that was Resident Evil 2 for the PlayStation 2. I still have it. I still have never beat it. But I got the remastered version of Resident Evil 1 for the PS3. Love that game. Resident Evil. But Resident Evil 2 always got me because you never knew it was around that corner, You'd go, turn a corner, oh, a zombie, blah. Or a dog smashes through a window, or a licker comes and slices your face off. And it's just not knowing, I just couldn't get through it. I tried and tried and tried, but I just could never get through it. But horror movies aside, God, I'm trying to think of another story I wanted to tell you guys. Like, I don't want to get too personal with like, oh god, voice crack, ugh. Like with stupid stories and what I've done in my past, blah 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 blah. Ooh, I lied. There's one story that I want to tell you guys. It's about when I was a really little child and I smashed the windows out of a house. Now, down the road from where I live now is a bridge. Get down the bridge, take a left, and you see this little house. Like, little pretty house, And me and my little friends, we thought it was an abandoned house. Like, no one lived there. We'd never seen anyone go in there. So, what we decided to do was take rocks and smash the windows out of it. It was the greatest time I've ever had as a child, was smashing windows out of a house. I don't condone it. I really don't. I don't recommend smashing windows out of a house with rocks. It's bad. It's illegal. Don't do it. But as we were doing it, it was so fun. We'd laugh, play games like, I'm gonna ricochet us off this painting and smash the window behind it. Boom, psh, psh, And 4.5 hours passed and we were smashing windows. There was no windows, we were just throwing rocks to an empty house. But every now and then we hear like a psh, and after that 4.5 hours, little girl comes running down. We hear, I'm telling the landlord. So she goes storming up the road. And we shake it off for like, we don't care. Psh, psh, glass flying, people laughing, kids getting cut on glass. Great times. And then, after about 5 minutes, we stop. We put the rocks down. We're thinking, like, we're gonna get in so much trouble right now. So, everyone fled back to their house. And I ran back to my house. I locked myself in my room. And I was, like, trying to be a good boy, like, reading a Bible, scribbling on a piece of paper, listening to gospel. I had this gospel music, right? It was a red CD. It was, like, a cappella gospel music. It was amazing. Played that when I played, King Kong for the PlayStation. Remember that game? Well, yeah, mine froze in the last level when, like, you're on the other house swatting down planes. I couldn't die, and I couldn't lose, but I couldn't win at the same time. And I was so sad, I had to restart my last check. I was like halfway through the game. And I was like, I don't want to redo this. To this day, I still have never beaten that game. Want to someday. Back to the story. I'm in my room, and then 20 minutes pass, dead silent. I'm like, maybe she didn't tell the landlord. So as I'm about to poke my head out, I hear a knock on the door. I'm like, that's it. My face goes ghost white. I sit on my bed and I'm just like, this is it. This is the day that I get grounded until I am 19 years old. Didn't happen, but here's what did happen. Landlord comes knocking on my door. Explains to my mom what happened. She's pissed. She comes banging on my door like, what did you do? Rah, rah, rah. And I'm in tears. I'm crying. I'm like, I didn't know. I didn't know. Turns out it was a summer home for some old woman who left town, and she wouldn't be back till like summer ended. So, you know, I don't rat out my, well, of course I ratted out my friends. I'm like, yeah, they were there too, blah, blah. So, we weren't in any serious trouble. Cops didn't get involved. All we had to do was clean up the glass and pay for damage. Turns out windows weren't that expensive back when I was a little kid. I think we only spent like $500. But that still screwed us because we were poor. I'm still poor. But I was the only one of the 4 friends that I had that smashed out the windows, that showed up to clean up the glass. I was the only one that did it, you know? The kids playing Xbox or PlayStation, whatever we had back then. Just dodging their physical responsibility. And it made me so upset. I was like, why am I the only kid that has to spend my days cleaning up broken glass inside of an old house that I didn't even know existed until that day where I smashed its windows out? But my mom told me the story recently, and she's like, I was perfectly fine, you know? I was fine. She said the cops were gonna come. I was like, okay, okay. And I slept with the teddy bear. I slept with this teddy bear till I was like 15 years old. Don't judge me. I had that bear since I was a baby. Like, it was a fluffy bear with like a heartbeat inside. I'll have to show you guys sometime, but the bear now has like a dead neck and no fluff. Like, it still has stuffing, but it's like its hair fell out. It has one eye. It's a sad looking bear. But when my mom told me that I couldn't bring my bear to jail, that's when I broke down. I was like, what? And I started bawling like a baby, and you know, it was a sad day. But I cleaned up the glass to the house, and you know, they paid for the damages. I worked my ass off for almost a month. But that was an experience and a half, I'll tell you that much. Vape's dead. But yeah, that was a very scary experience. Not being able to take my bear to prison. Imagine a child walking through prison with a bear in one hand and a blankie in the other, tears streaming down his face. You couldn't help but feel bad for that kid. He could have, like, killed someone. But the moment a child, like, grabs a bear and a safety blankie over one shoulder, and he's, like, all sleekly, like, you know, crying, and I look like Bubbles for... I love Bubbles. Anyway, you can't be mad at that kid. No matter what he did, you couldn't be mad at that kid. Hell, I couldn't. But, yeah, don't smash windows out of houses. Abandoned or not. Don't do it. But then, my final story is probably my best story that I will never forget for as long as I live. This is the day that me and my friend broke into this house, well, this old factory, and we never went back there. We wanted to, but we never did. Here's how it all started. We were looking at places to explore, you know, like abandoned buildings, because we love doing that. And we came across this old glass factory. This wasn't the building we went into. It was an old factory for, like, nails and stuff. And half the building was demolished. But we couldn't get in. There's cops all around it. So we parked, like, a few blocks up the road. And we walked to this building. Now, the building itself was old and decrepit. It was broken down, bricks everywhere, piles of, like, metal and rust. It was dangerous. But we looked for hours trying to get in this place, and then finally we found a ladder. A legit ladder just laying there in the rubbish. Rubble. Bleh. So, he boosted me up to a window. So inside we saw I saw 3 glass tubes with glowing green shit. That's all I could grab was glowing green shit because I didn't know what it was. I tried to get in, but there was like a 30-foot drop to the floor. No way in, no way out. We'd be trapped in there forever, and we'd die. So, we didn't go in. But I wish I would have taken pictures of it, because it looked like, you know, cartoon plutonium, where you see, like, glowing green shit. And I wish I could find words or find out what it was, but I think it was radium. the stuff they put in watches to make like LEDs glow. But we were bored with that place, you know. Oh, my phone's freaking dying. Why is everything dying? So we left that place. Well, actually, before we left, we heard cop noises. Yeah, cop noises. You know, like any sound of a car or a siren about 15 blocks away. But we saw this cop or this car come slowly cruising down. We hid behind this pile of bricks for like 20 minutes. And, you know, we popped our head up, ghost are clear, cop's gone, he's circling the area trying to look for us because people are breaking into the building. We don't know what they were guarding to this day, but we want to go back. Probably never go back, but who will? So then, we start looking. Past that, we see this brick red building. And there's no way to it except over a creek, well, we thought. So we put the location in GPS. We went the opposite way. We got caught in a dead end trying to find our way out. So finally, we're on the main road and we see a road behind this like house and complex that goes up and around a hill. We're like, dude, maybe that's the road. So he goes driving up and up and up and up, and finally we see it. It's like a golden light just shines from the heaven on this broken building. So we get out of the car. Well, we park the car down by the creek, back it up in this little path. The car's hidden. You know, before we went to the big building, or the main one, we saw this long building. So we were walking down the road, you know, and then 6 cars, well, 1 car, my bad, comes flying down that road. So we both dive off the side of the road, not looking before we do. We both hit the side of the hill. He grabs onto a tree, my ankle gets caught in a vine, and I'm upside down, dangling above a creek. Like water's flowing, like rapids, like white water. And I'm terrified. I about peed myself, looking what would be up to me at this creek that I'm just hanging by a vine. I'm like doing sit-ups, trying to hide, but we were dead quiet. He just looked at me as like, you can see the panic in his voice, because that vine snaps, I'm done. So, car stops. People get out. Flashlights shine. We're hidden behind bushes. I'm kind of dangling, but I'm upside down, so people think I'm a bush, I guess. So they get back in the car, you know, they drive down the road, wait, go back. So, after that, we're like, you know what, screw this building, let's just go to the main one and get out of here. So, we go to this building. And it's this old factory-looking thing. I'll explain in detail what was in it once we get to that part, because I'm not going to spoil anything. But, oh god, I shake still thinking about it. So, crack my toes. We're wandering around. For like 15 minutes, we're wandering around this building, trying to find a way in. So finally, we come across this metal grate that's like kind of dented in. So, he's looking at this thing, and we're trying to figure a way in, like, quietly. And he stops, and he says the most badass thing. He's like, hey, what's the best thing about growing pains? I said, what? What do you mean? He said, what's the best thing about growing pains? I said, I don't know. What? He looks at me, smiles, and said, they're loud, quick, and they don't last very long. And he shoulder checks this metal thing, breaking it completely in. Big bang! Silence. I'm just sitting there like this. I'm like, dude, why did you have to sound like a superhero before you committed a break and entering crime? So he starts laughing. We go in, and immediately, like, there's asbestos. There's, like, mold everywhere. We didn't bring masks. We brought flashlights. You know, essentials. So we put our, like, shirts like this, trying to filter out some of the disgustingness. As we walk in, to our left is this broken elevator shaft. We look down, it's like a few stories. And I about fell in, because I slipped on something and, like, I grabbed a wall like this. Looking down, my eyes just wide. I'm like, oh, shit, help. And then he yanks me back. Now, we pass that, crawl through this little opening, and we see a closed door. Remember that. We see a closed door off to our right that, like, looks like leads down into a basement. And then we see a door, or a pitch black corridor, and then straight ahead we see 2 rooms. So we go straight. And no, I'm sorry, scratch that. We take a left and we go down this dark room. Now, there's trophies and trophies everywhere, like boxes of these things. They're up on the walls, they're like standing on shelves, and it's amazing. Trophies just everywhere. So, we go through the room, admire the trophies, then we take a left to this big empty thing. The room just had nothing but tires, and it looked like it was a tires changing station for like their cars or vehicles. So we got bored with that and we left. Walking through the same trophy room, we hear a trophy fall behind us. We both jump, turn the lights up, look up, and this trophy just jumped off the shelf at us. And then another one fell, and another one. So we hightailed it out of that room. We took a right, and we headed straight. Now, we decided to take a right into the smaller room. It's like an office area. We see on the wall a cutout of a newspaper. This place closed in 1988. Now, the building's been abandoned since 1988, okay? Who knows what's growing in there, what is in there. So, we go back to the room and my phone's blowing up. Why? Whoa! Snapchat, chill. So, we go back into the other room. And in this room, like, glass panes here. Like, I'm trying to close my eyes to envision it. But there's glass panes, like, stretched out from the middle of the room to the wall. And we shine our flashlight over, and at the corner of our eye, we see this black silhouette hanging from the rafter, like with a chain. We see a black silhouette, so he's like, dude, do you see that? I said, yeah. So we slowly shine our light up, and there's his body hanging from a chain. We stopped for a solid 10 minutes. Before we freaked completely out and had a panic attack, we noticed that it had no feet. That sounds like it shouldn't be calming for us, but it was, because I poked it with a stick, and it turns out it was a dummy that someone hung from the rafter. Sick joke, damn near gave us a heart attack. Like, we were having compulsions, like, seizing out. Not really, but we see this thing hanging from a rafter that looks like a body from a chain around its neck, and we freeze. Turns out we do not do very well in situations like that where we see a potential dead body hanging from a chain on a rafter. But it turns out it was a dummy, and, we went along our way. And in the next room, there was, like, car parts. So we assumed it was a car factory. There were mufflers and exhaust things still in their packages from 1988. Now his idea was, hey, let's come back with a backpack and steal this shit. I'm like, no. We already broke down the door. Let's not leave a mark. He said, yeah, true. So we go down and there's nothing much else, like an empty room, a car lift, and windows. We go back to the office to look around more, and then we hear this bang, bang, bang. So we turn the flashlights off. We hit the deck. We're hidden in this office. And we hear a footsteps coming in the building towards where we are. Now, at this point, I'm shaking. I'm freaking completely. I'm like, dude, we're going to go to jail. That's a cop. We're going to get arrested. I don't want to get arrested. But in my head, I was screaming. But in reality, apparently, I was just sitting there like this. Motionless. My eyes were wide. I was shaking in my hands, but I was quiet and calm. In my head, I was having a panic attack. So it stops out of nowhere. Like, it gets into the room and just stops. There's no light, no flashlight shining. It's just, it stops. And we're there for an hour. We don't hear this thing move. So we pop our head out, and there was nothing there. There was legit nothing fucking there. It either crept away, or it just left somehow, floated away. We don't know. We didn't care. We wanted out of there. After we checked out the roof. So we climbed up these stairs, like it was 6 flights of stairs we climbed up, and we got to the roof. It was a beautiful view of the wheeling area, and we just sat there and stared, calming down, not wanting to go back to the shit that we endured. So, after about an hour and a half, we went back downstairs, you know. We're giggling, we're playing on the roof, making Fiddler on the Roof jokes. If I were a rich man, okay. We go down, and you remember that locked room, the closed door that I told you about? Yeah, that's standing wide open now. So, we're like staring at it. Chains cut. Or broken. Not cut, it was broken. Like a link snapped off and it just and swung open. We're not sure if it was rusty or something broke it, but we knew we weren't alone. So what do? Give me a second. Oh, keep in mind, we're not bright. I'm a dumbass. That's right. We went downstairs. And downstairs was nothing. Literally nothing. It was caved in. There was dirt and refuse up to our knees. Literally, we're knee deep in random shit. So, there was nothing of interest down there, so we left. We closed the door off and put it back, and we got in our car and we left. Now, we never went back there because we didn't know what was there or what came in after us. We didn't want to know. We didn't want to find out. But it wasn't good, whatever it was. So, yeah, those are 3 little stories that I figured I'd share with you guys. If you liked it, you know, yeah, punch the like button and subscribe. But honestly, you do you. I'd love it if you guys subscribe to me and like the videos, but you don't have to. I'm not gonna sit here and bash that in your face, you know. If you like it, you liked it. If you don't, you disliked it. Oh well, I'm not funny anyway. But if you subscribed, hey, I love you. Welcome. And yeah, that's a 37-minute story time. Anyway, Stomach Killer. See you guys later.